They're both bald, but Andy thinks he's not. Andy may deny it, but you know it's just lies, because they're two bald guys.
Are we going to be like this at 60? Because I just think it's quite hilarious that my mum and dad are so boring. Like, so boring. Joe's mum and dad, so boring. And yet, me and you are just
Hilarious.
immature adults.
I wouldn't even call us adults. I really wouldn't.
Man children.
Yes.
I like it, yeah.
Yeah. We said this in the last podcast, didn't we? About, like, I remember my mum at 40. She wasn't like me.
No, I mean, my mum was definitely not like me. I mean, she had 3 kids to raise, but was a mum. Do you know what I mean? Where you would go and there wouldn't be any swearing and there wouldn't, you know, she'd be cooking. My dad would come in at 5 o'clock, meal would be on the table. And there's me that's like, oh, have you done me any food? No, do it your fucking self. Do you know what I mean? I'm sorry, but it's so different. It really is.
It really is. I think we said this in the last one. We're going to be sitting next to each other on rocking chairs in our 80s, still swearing and finding farts funny. I'm never going to grow out of that. I mean, what is maturity? If it's just not finding toilet humour funny, I'm out. I don't want to be part of that.
Yeah. Because often we'll be lying in bed, it'll be like 5 o'clock. It's hot, you know, the alarm goes off at 5:30. I'm awake, so I'm not really going to go back to sleep because that's the dangerous bit, isn't it? You wake up at 5:30 and like, oh, I feel absolutely ranted now because I've gone back into a deep sleep. And I listen to Isla, and she'll do a proper loud trump and laugh
From the other room.
From the other room, laugh, and then go back to sleep. And I'm like, that child is mine.
That's peak life where you can wake up, fart, and go back to sleep. I mean, beat that as an adult.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's. I just find it really funny. I am 46 almost, and I find farts hilarious.
Yeah, I'm never growing out of that, and I don't really want to either.
It'd be boring, wouldn't it? It would be boring. Do you know? I watch like the TikTok videos where people trump in public and people are like, ugh! And some people just like, I'm one of those people like, that dude literally just sharted.
Yeah, that's us. That's literally us. Yeah.
Anyway, going on to my week.
You seem to have had a really angry week. Every day you've sent me a different message, which has been like full of rage. And I found it really funny, actually.
In all fairness, you have those weeks where stuff goes smoothly and you go, oh, actually, it's an okay day today. Yep. You know, brilliant. And then some days, the first email pisses you off. You're like, that's not being delivered. It's been delivered to the wrong, business. Great. I'm going to have to sort that out. And you start your day off angry.
But every day I've had a different message from you about a different subject.
It's been an angry week.
It's been an angry week. I'm worried for you.
So I get an email off my customer. Hi, Rich. Can you give us a call? I want to discuss the requirements of this. So I'm like, yeah, no worries. Pick up the phone. The gatekeeper, as we call them, goes, is he expecting your call? Yeah, he's just sent me an email. Find that hard to believe. What's it about? What's it to do with you for starters? And put me through to fucking Steve. Put me through. Yeah. Let me just try his extension. Beep, beep, beep. Comes back on the phone. Yeah, no reply. It fucking rang once. It must have only rang once. How the fuck can you say no reply? And I'm like, oh, you're just pissing me off. I've had an email that's already pissed me off. My first call of the day, you've pissed me off. And it just continues to snowball that way, mate. That is what it's like.
This is a level of rage that was coming through on all your messages. I was like, oh, he's pretty mad about this, actually.
Yeah. I mean, you must have weeks like that as well. You must have weeks where you just go, wow, I've now been asked to do this, but I've got 15 other things to do. Before that, I can't do everything.
Yeah, exactly right. You get those weeks where you get to Thursday and you think you've done sort of 7 or 8 days that week already. And it's like, how the fuck have I still got a day left of this week? That's pretty crazy. Or you're already pretty full up with work, aren't you? You're pretty full up with work. And then someone just chucks a grenade in your lap and go, would you like to lead on this? No. Are you instructing me or are you asking me? Because if you're asking me,
yeah,
it's a no. If you're instructing me, I'll find someone else to do it.
So from my point of view, mate, yeah, it's just been a bit of a challenging week. You know, the traffic at the moment in Nottingham is just horrendous.
It was your message about driving that really made me laugh. You were absolutely ranting for pages on this message.
I just feel that some people shouldn't be able to drive.
I agree.
You know, if the speed limit is 40, do between 35 and 40, not fucking 25. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, are you taking the piss? And you know it's some old codger with some big old specs that can't see out the fucking window, and you're like, you're a danger to the road. But I've never had an accident, but you caused fucking 50.
Absolutely agree. So driving is, you've actually got to be good at it to do it. It's not a right. You do actually have to be good at it because it is dangerous if you do it wrong. There's so many people that I see that I think if you retook your test now, there's no way you'd pass. With what I've just seen, there's no way you'd pass. So I was in Nottingham. Do you know that multi-storey on Parliament Street? Is it Parliament Street? The really tight.
Tight, yes,
Okay.
yeah.
So it is.
I mean, you've got a massive car, haven't you, as well? So it does make it really hard for you to manoeuvre around.
You're being very rude now. But I was in Amy's car, which is a bigger car. But there are really tight walls, aren't there? There's, very difficult to get out. However, it's perfectly possible for any normal car to get out of there without a problem. We were sat behind someone and the driver of the car could not get out. And it was interesting because I was behind and they were going up and back out of the car park. And as soon as they turned to try and get in, the first thing I thought was, that's the wrong angle. You're not getting in. They went too shallow. I said, no, there's no way. As soon as they started, I was like, they're not getting in. And then they tried, reversed, tried, reversed, tried. There's a big queue now behind me. Everyone's beeping. Everything, all the beeps echo. Because it's a concrete multi-storey car park. And at this point, I'm like going, oh no. And then this woman gets out of the car.
Be truthful. Be truthful. Was you going, oh no, or were you going, what a knob? Get the angle right and fuck off.
Well, somewhere in the middle probably, because I wasn't in a hurry. If I was in a hurry, I would have been pretty mad actually. But it was like this sort of, as soon as they pulled in, I was like, yeah, that's not going to work. Wrong angle. In, out, just trying to, just couldn't get the car to move where they wanted it to be. What they wanted to do was just pick it up and move it that way a bit so they could go in. But anyway, this woman, nice woman, got out and she just went, I'm so sorry. She goes, I'm about to have a mental breakdown in there. I can't do this. And I said, do you want me to get in and have a go? And she went, are you willing to? Everyone's beeping. I said, yeah, no problem. All right. I get in. And her little son's there, who's like 4 years old in a car seat. I was like, hello. He went, hello. I went, what's your name? And he told me his name. And I went, my name's Andy. Mummy's just going to be up there. I'm just going to drive. And he went, okay, cool. So,
trusting of the mum, I wouldn't do that myself.
Well, I could have driven off, couldn't I?
Oh, yeah.
But so all I did was went, what you should do, if it's really tight, here's the junction. I just went past it, reversed back to level and straight up.
Yeah.
No problem. She was at the top of the ramp by this point. Dropped the car off. She went, you made that look very easy. I said, no, I didn't want to embarrass her. I was like, no, these can be tricky. Left her to it. Came back down. By this point, there's 3 blokes out their cars ready to shout at whoever's causing the hold up. And they all just like, because now I'm the front one in the queue, and they think that it's me causing.
So you're getting the fingers up. Come on, you bastard!
Exactly, they think it's me causing the hold up. So I'm like, no, I've just helped someone else. And they're like, oh, in your car. So then traffic's flowing. But that is a perfect example of you need to be good at driving. You can't just expect that any adult's allowed to drive. You've got to be good at it. You wouldn't let any adult fly a plane.
True. Yeah, absolutely. I remember way back. It was probably the old Broadmarsh car park. It was wide, but the actual ramps were really steep.
I remember this. So we had lowered cars as well.
Yes.
And if you went to the ramp straight on, you had to sort of creep sideways on, or the front would just drag, wouldn't it?
Exactly. So my Saxo was very low. And I didn't lower the back. I think I only lowered the back like 15 mil, but the front was at like 55, something like that. But the balance was really good.
It was.
But in a car park, I had to flip and reverse it out because I couldn't physically go down. Going up's fine because, as you say, you put your front right tyre onto the ramp and then straighten it up and then go up the hill. But coming down, I can't do it. I haven't got the room.
So how many stories did you have to reverse down?
I was probably on the top. I was probably on the top floor. So yeah, it's probably like eight stories.
You must have looked like such a twat.
I had to get out the driver's door, run round, pay for the park, put my ticket in, and run back. The barriers come up, and I'm like fucking reversing out of the car park, like, oh, what a twat!
You must have looked. Someone following you must have been like, What are you doing?
When you couldn't even fit your foot underneath the front bumper, that was the issue.
Yeah.
Normal day driving, never an issue. Didn't hit any potholes, because there wasn't very many in those days. But, what would that woman have done in that situation?
Yep. The other one is the school drop-off is so annoying. And I know you messaged me about this, but the school drop-off, it's the amount of people in massive cars that don't understand how big their car is compared to the space.
And you do tend to find, mate, the bigger vehicles, they're the ones that are more reluctant to go for a gap. And you're like, you're not much wider than me. And I was sat behind a car, I don't know if it was last week or the week before, and there's parked cars in front, parked cars on the other side. And I did exactly that. I beeped, say, the coast is clear now because I can see. You can't because you're so close to the bloody parked car.
You can go, yeah.
You can go. Nothing. Beeped again. They're now thinking he's getting annoyed because he's beeped me twice. And I was. Beeped the third time. I stuck a finger up and went round her. And then went straight on. And all the traffic behind me did exactly the same. And it's like, if you can't judge that gap, don't be on the road, seriously.
It's part of driving.
Shouldn't be on the road because cars are bigger. Roads haven't got bigger. Cars have got bigger. Yeah. So, there is challenges. I get it. But, should there be some kind of, like, I don't know, driving license renewal when you get to 70 or 80 or 90? Because at the moment, there isn't.
Well, that's interesting, actually, because I saw something, it was only a couple of days ago on the news, where they were talking about testing people. So there's 3 areas they were looking at, which were distance. So is your eyesight good enough to see, let's say, 20 meters or so? There was peripheral vision, so you need to be able to see like that.
Yeah.
What's going on over here and here. And also the sensitivity to contrast, so going from light into dark or dark into light, because that's something as you get older very often becomes more difficult, is coming out of a tunnel into light, or being driving at night and headlights. That becomes more difficult as you get older. So what they were urging people to do on the news was saying, go and get your eyes tested, because you need to see whether you're still safe to drive. And if you don't do that and you're pulled over at the side of the road and tested, you might lose your license. So there is something in that space now that's happening, which I absolutely welcome, because I'm never going to get to the point where I go, I can't drive anymore. Even at 80, 85, I'd be like, no, I'm still better than everyone, because that's me and I'm a knobhead. But I would actually need a test to tell me I can't drive anymore.
And I think you're right there. I mean, a lot of my mum's friends, including my mum, won't drive at night because they don't feel safe enough to drive at night.
Good, but they know that about themselves.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So my dad drives. And that's fine because my dad's a great driver.
I'd rather people knew that about themselves, though, than carried on unsafely. I'd rather people recognise that. Yeah. I just hope I get to that point where I go, might not be that safe anymore.
Another point, yesterday morning, took Isla to Kids Club. Got in the car, drove her to there, came back, parked it on the drive. And obviously did my full day of work. And when going to collect Isla, would my fucking fob work? No, couldn't get in the fucking car. Dead. Everything dead. I'm like, what's the actual fault? This is the spare, because my main key battery died like about a month ago.
You've really got no one to blame but yourself.
Exactly. It was my fault.
So is there no physical key?
There is, but you can't drive it because it needs the fob to be able to recognise that the key is authorised, because it sends a signal. So I'm like, bollocks! So I'm stood on the drive thinking, I can't actually go and pick her up. And it's the right trek. Luckily enough, Joe pulls up in the drive. I was like, ooh, I'll take your car, thank you. Jumps into the Mini. So I go and pick her up, and the traffic was horrendous. So I went the long way, and it takes you onto the A46. Literally, I got an ST, it was a Focus ST, and what was the other one? It was a BMW 135M. Very nice cars. And I was like, oh, I've got Isla in the car. I really can't cane it. I did. And they were literally popping and banging behind me. And I'm like, oh, I wish this popped and banged. Sounds so nice, mate. Yeah. It sounded so nice. And in all fairness, the Mini held its own. I mean, up to 70, that car is it is fire. It really does go well.
I've driven it, haven't I? I drove it on our other channel, the 060 channel. I love that car. I really do. It's a Mini, but it's big enough for me to sit in without a problem. Yeah. It's a 2-litre turbo. It's only 1,300 kilos. It flies, absolutely flies, that car does. And it gives a few other sports cars a bit of a surprise.
It does. And I think the ST went past and he got the full rally mud flaps, the full work.
Was it the Focus or the Fiesta?
The Focus.
The Focus ST.
Yeah. And I mean, I think it was an 09, so I think they're the 2.5 Volvo engines, 2.5 turbo. So they're bigger, they're an inline. And that made a beautiful noise as it went past. Yeah. And I got in my electric car the following day after replacing the battery in the fob, and thought, I do miss that sound. I do miss the sound. A turbo just makes you smile in the mornings.
It does, and it's on and off the power. It's more raw. The exhaust noise, the turbo noise, the engine noise. Look, electric cars are fast as hell. We know that. And we know it's the future. Yeah. It's all a bit wet.
It is.
But also, you sent me a message about Christmas and the build-up to Christmas. Somehow even Christmas is annoying.
Right, mate. We put the decorations up last weekend of November. Sometimes in December. Depends on how lazy we're being. This year, I don't know if you've noticed, but people have been putting them up fucking ridiculously early. Like, on the estate, beginning of November. I was like, they've got a fucking Christmas tree up. It's the beginning of November. Isn't it meant to be 12 days before and 12 days after?
I noticed that when I drove here today. Honestly, I was just like, the whole place is luminous with lights. Power companies must be delighted with this.
absolutely. You know, you drive around the estate and I'm like, some people really do go above and beyond. Now, I can't be bothered. The inside of the house, we put a tree up, we put a few lights up, bit of decoration. That's it. I've not even put any lights on the outside because every weekend that I've had has rained, and I'm not going up a ladder to put any decorations up. I'm the Grinch.
You are a grumpy old bastard. You really are.
What was that program? Was it in the 90s? Was his name Richard? Mrs. Bouquet?
No, you're on about One Foot in the Grave.
One Foot in the Grave, sorry, yes.
Victor Meldrew. That's you.
Yeah.
You're the sort of guy that goes, I'm not putting decorations up on the outside of my house because who gets the benefit of that? Everyone but me.
I don't really see your point there, to be quite honest, because you are correct.
Doesn't your daughter like it when she comes home and it's like, oh, our lights are on, this looks amazing?
Yeah, but if you never put them up, there's no expectation.
Victor Meldrew.
Right, how many lights have you got outside yours?
Do you know what we did? We put ours up last week, actually, because usually I leave it too late and then it's frosty and you go up a ladder and you're freezing cold and you're terrified and the wind's blowing and you're more terrified and it's awful. But we did it last week because it was dry and we actually, you know, the ones that you hang from the gutter.
The icicle lights. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I will say one year I was so lazy I couldn't be bothered to bring them down. And then it got to like the end of January and I was like... And then it got to May somehow. And I was like, we're nearly as close to next Christmas as we are
A little bit.
to last Christmas. So I was like, yeah, they're just staying up for the year. And we've got a nice house in a sort of expensive area. And I was like, we're such a letdown to the area. We're such tramps.
In all fairness, though, I've got 2-tier ladders that won't reach my guttering.
Oh, I've got 2-tier ladders. And really I need 3 because they really do a bit of that.
I'm on the last notch, if that makes sense.
Yes.
And you have to go past the top of the ladders, holding onto the wall. And I'm like, I'm still nowhere near the guttering. And I'm like, this is a little bit scary. And I'm not a fan of heights.
No, me neither. Not at all.
I'm just not. You know, if you do it every day, you get used to it. But I'm like, I'm not risking my life to put some decorations up for someone else to benefit from. Victor Meldrew, I know. But I don't care. My house, my tree's lovely. I've got lights everywhere. That's fine, because I benefit from that. No one else does.
That's the approach every human should have to life.
And I'm saving the planet by doing that. Because think about all of the electric that's been wasted on the outside of the electric.
That doesn't come into your thoughts at all. Be honest. No, it fucking doesn't.
Because I'm thinking, I'm putting that on. How much is that? Probably £1 a day.
No, you're thinking about it saves my money. You're not thinking about the planet. Don't pretend you're thinking about the planet. You're thinking about your fucking money in your bank.
Oh, yeah. Because if I have it on for 2 weeks, it's a bottle of vodka.
You don't give a shit whether the planet falls into the sun. You're thinking about how much money is left in your bank.
Yet again, I'm struggling to see what your point is.
Me too. But are you ready for Christmas? Because we're in December now.
In all fairness, I am. And I love Christmas. Don't get me wrong. I really love Christmas.
I love Christmas.
And when you've got kids, it is magical because you've got to make it magical for them.
Well, Isabel's nearly 10. So every year we're like, is this the last really magical one? So we're always trying to make it special.
So yeah, I mean, we're well ahead, and Isla's sorted, obviously.
I really struggle with buying presents.
I'm hopeless, mate. Jo is an absolute godsend in this house. She does it all.
But how do you choose them for her? The first few years of being with Amy, I was like, oh, I've got some great ideas. And then I ran out of ideas. I'm happy to spend the money. I'm happy to put the time in. My imagination is just terrible, though.
Get them practical gifts, like a Hoover or an iron.
An iron.
I remember my uncle one year,
No.
got my aunt a Hoover.
Oh my God.
It was the best present I've ever seen a reaction from. Seriously, it's amazing.
I might buy her a new tumble dryer, actually. She'd be really happy with that.
Yeah. So yeah, no, Christmas I love, but the biggest question is, how much do you spend? Because I'm not being funny. Kids' expectations and prices of presents these days are ridiculous.
Yeah.
What's the cut-off? Do you know how much you spend on Isabel?
Yeah. So we're at that stage where all of that huge plastic toys, the plane, the house, all of that stuff, we don't need that anymore because it's mainly like phone, tablet that she's on. What she likes at the moment is a lot of products, a lot of, not that she needs it because she's 9, creams and smelly stuff and all that sort of stuff. But interestingly, my 17-year-old daughter, I gave her money for her birthday and we went out shopping together, which was really nice. But she spent most of the money in Superdrug, like buying sprays and creams and stuff. That seems to be just what they buy. So it doesn't take up a lot of space and you don't actually need a lot of money for it.
That's true, because you know we've got Isla a Nintendo Switch, like 300 quid, and you know the games 50, 60 quid a game, and you're like, oh, now
It adds up.
you know it's like we've just spent like 400 quid, and Joe goes, well, I can't just get her that because it looks like we've not spent anything, if that makes sense.
That's the thing. When they were young, you'd spend like 80 quid and they've got 4 massive things to open. And then when they're older, you buy them a new phone, which is like 500 quid. And it's like this big. And you're like, Happy Christmas. It doesn't feel the same, does it?
It doesn't. So Joe's got a like little bits and bobs to open, so that it looks like there's more.
You don't want to come down in the morning. It's like, ooh,
One
an,
present.
an envelope.
But the smaller presents like work. Do you want to be in the Secret Santa? N-O is what I put back. Literally, no, I don't. Because I find that really fucking stressful. I don't know the cunt, and you're asking me to get them a present. And last year, mate, I got a fucking beer shoe. Glass beer shoe.
Where's
You
that?
know, in the bin. Went to the recycle centre. What the fuck am I going to do with that? I'm not going to sit in the living room with a fucking beer glass, am I?
No.
A shoe. It's ridiculous. I'm like, no thought. It's probably a present that they didn't want and they just passed it on.
Regifted.
Yeah.
Literally, I mean, you don't even drink beer.
I don't drink beer. No.
So what are you going to buy this other person? And can you imagine the front of someone going, oh, I bought you some smelly stuff. No, I don't like this. Can I have something else? No.
No.
What's your name again?
Do you know what I mean? No. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I find it really fucking stressful. I find it hard enough buying for my family, nor along to someone that I don't even know.
Do you know what the other thing is as well is Christmas traditions, right? Brussels sprouts. Okay. This will divide the nation. What's your view on Brussels sprouts?
In all fairness, we get them from Marks because our whole Christmas meal is Marks and Spencer's supplied. So we have the cauliflower cheese, we have the Brussels with bacon, and they're really nice.
Do you have them at any point else during the year, Brussels sprouts?
No.
That's what I'm saying.
No.
There's certain things. You don't eat popcorn unless you're at the cinema.
I don't even like popcorn, mate, I've got to say.
No, but if someone offered you at the cinema...
Oh, yeah, I'd have a couple of bits, but...
But if someone offered you at work, you'd be like, no, because you only have it at the cinema. Brussels sprouts are just Christmas. It's like, I don't like them. Yeah, but it's Christmas. You've got to eat them. A Brussels... What even is a Brussels sprout? It's like a cabbage that someone in a lab has shrunk down and condensed into this vile little ball of fart that you're meant to sit and eat. What the fuck?
I know. I saw them in Aldi when I was shopping yesterday, you know, on the big vines, and the Brussels come on. I was like, I would never go and get... If I was doing a Sunday dinner, cauliflower cheese, love. You know, absolutely love cauliflower cheese. A, because it does make you toot a lot.
You'd have that all year round.
I would. I love it. And, you know, I like carrots, I like sweet corn, but I would never walk into a shop and go, ooh, Brussels. Andy's coming tonight. let's have some Brussels with a bit of chicken. It doesn't go... What does it go well with?
Even when you just mention it there, you're like, oh, Brussels with bacon. Yeah, you've got to have bacon to take away the taste of the fucking fart balls of Brussels.
Yeah.
No one wants it. No one wants it. I'll cover it in mint sauce so it doesn't taste of... Well, don't eat it then.
No.
But at Christmas, should we have them? Yeah, go on then. Why? Because it's Christmas. You've got to eat them. It's the law.
Christmas pod, right? The nation will be divided with this. I can't stand Christmas pod.
Fucking vile.
It's fucking horrible, right?
Oh.
And my family are like, oh, should we have Christmas pod? But we don't have Christmas pod in fucking April, do we? So why are we having it now? It's fucking horrible.
The most dense, thick, horrible fruitcake shit. Mince pies. Vile.
I do like a mince pie, so I'm a little bit divided on that. But Joe doesn't like mince pies.
They're fucking horrible.
Christmas pod, I just don't like. It's just like the filling in a mince pie, but condensed into one thing. I just don't like it, mate. You know, oh, let's have some brandy sauce on it. No, it's not going to make it any better.
When was the last time you drank brandy?
Never. I don't like brandy.
No. So I don't like the cake. I don't like the icing, and I don't like the brandy.
Yeah.
Should we have some? It's December. No.
No. You know, so there's a lot of Christmas traditions that I don't like in terms of food-wise. Yeah.
Oddly, I love Christmas.
Yeah.
Absolutely love Christmas. Can't wait for it. The fact that our two families are going away over Christmas and New Year is going to be amazing.
And people, watch out for our New Year podcast because I think it's going to be brilliant.
Yeah, it's going to be immense. So happy fucking Christmas, everyone. And thanks for listening to Two Bald Guys.
Thanks, guys.
1,